Hey everyone, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention Chris here with a video on why is Marvel obsessed with variant covers that cost so damn much. So I saw that Mega Gear X retweeted Larry King's post about, so there's a variant coming out for Exiles number 3, and apparently it's $30. $30 for this variant. No offense to the artist, but this is bad. This is not an appealing variant. Like, apart from the whole point of a variant being a alternative cover, sometimes variants actually look better than the original covers. Like DC does it well when it comes to variants. Like for some series, or for usually most series, for any DC series, they come out with two covers. There's the standard cover and then there's a variant cover. And sometimes I find it difficult to pick which one I like the most. Like, for example, for Nightwing comes out with really, really great variant covers, and I will always try to go for a variant cover for Nightwing if my LCS still has them by the time I go there for New Comic Book Day. But for Marvel, I think the only time I've gotten a variant for Marvel were the ridiculous lenticulars and some of Jeff Shaw's covers for Thanos. But apart from the lenticulars, at least the variants for the Thanos one were still the same price as the original covers. Well, this $30 for this. I would not pay $30 for this. That is a waste of money. And considering here in Australia, I would be paying more. My LCS, if they actually bothered to get this, to order this, they would have to sell it for in between 50 to 100 Australian dollars for this variant, and they would probably only just have one, because they know no one is going to buy it except for one person who for some reason wants every cover. This is a waste of money. $30 for that. That is terrible. So why is Marvel obsessed with variant covers? Seriously, like when Marvel Legacy was announced, to no one's surprise at all, there were going to be lenticular covers and also other variants for apparently different stores or different states or whatever. Like, it wasn't necessary, considering a lot of the lenticulars couldn't properly lenticulate or they didn't properly represent its own legacy. Like, no, if shameless shilling here, if you see my Marvel Legacy lenticular video, I point out, like, Miss Marvel has her Legacy lenticular is homaging Captain America. That has nothing to do with the character, so why is it homaging one of the most famous Captain America covers of him bursting out of the page? It made no sense. Same with Captain Marvel homaging Incredible Hulk. It made no sense. There really is no legacy connection between the two, apart from them both being in the Marvel's universe. It's an unnecessary amount of covers. I think, Sean Gordon Murphy, the writer for Batman White Knight, he put it perfectly well. Put no excessive amounts of variants to burden comic ships. At most there will be 2, the main cover and the variant for the super passionate collector. Exactly. There should only at least be 2 covers, normal and the variant. Only 2. Only 2. I think the only time will only be acceptable for multiple different variants if it's an actual, like, special, like, proper, kind of celebration. So, like, for example, for next week's Action Comics number 1000, the big 1000 issues, have different covers, and there's the standard covers, and then there's different covers to represent the various, like, kind of art style at the time for, I think, yeah, kind of like different art style, like, era of the time. So you have like the 30s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to 2000s, and then there's also just a random blank variant as well. But see, I would say that's I would say that would be acceptable because it's actually celebrating. It's celebrating the 1000th issue of Action Comics, and it ties into the 80 years of Superman as well. While later on in this year, I think Feisty put up, apparently there's going to be 26 variants for Slott's Tony Stark Iron Man #1. Why? Why does there need to be 26 goddamn variants for just a #1 issue? Okay? 1 cover, or 2, 1 cover and a variant. That's enough, Marvel. This is one of the many reasons why comic shops are being closed, because you trick them into these whole stupid variants, and then they can't sell it, because most of the time they have to sell it for a higher price. And people usually don't want to, unless they actually have money and they're super collectors, they're not going to buy it because it costs too much. Like, going back to, like, here in Australia for me, for a $2.99 comic, I pay $5.25 Australian. For a Marvel comic, $3.99, I pay $6.95. And my store used to sell everything by US pricing. So in 2015, they sold everything that was $3.99 American for $3.99 Australian, and that was the same with any of the variants as well. But then they had to, because of GST and some other stuff, I don't know the technicals behind that, but they had to increase the prices of everything. And if it wasn't DC, the Marvel variants were they were overly priced. Like I said, $50 to $100, and there'll usually only be 1 copy of this because they know heaps of people are not going to buy it. It's just going to be that one collector that buys it. This is unnecessary, Marvel. This is one of many reasons why people have lost faith in you. This is one of the many reasons why comic book stores are closing, because of this, of 26 variants for Tony Stark Iron Man, and then $30 for Exiles #3 variant. This is all unnecessary. Why? Why do you need so many goddamn variants? This is, like, I just did a video before of, like, oversaturation. This is another oversaturation. Oversaturation of variants. There's too many goddamn variants, and they're all pointless and useless. Like, most of the time, the variants aren't even that good. Like, there's that very rare, like, diamond in a big pile of manure that is actually good. But others, it's just pointless because most of the time you can't afford it. Like, Marvel, please stop. Please stop. Just, along with a whole lot of things, it's time to stop. Please. Please stop with these variants. The consumers, the customers, the fans, we are not rich. Okay? I have had to, like, because I have no faith in Marvel, as soon as a Marvel series that I don't like finishes a story arc, I drop the hell out of that. I'm not going to buy any more because I want to save money. And usually, I want to save money for what DC comes out with, because DC actually produces good comics, unlike Marvel, where they only have like 4 or 5 that out of what? Like 50, 60, 70 plus series? And only 1 or 2 of them have variant covers that are actually the same price as the standard cover. Like, you should have seen with how bad the Legacy lenticulars went, how bad that turned out to be. You should have thought, maybe we should stop with maybe we should just stop with variants as a whole. But no. Let's just keep making more and essentially just forcing comic book stores to buy them. And not only just to buy them, I believe, I know, if someone could probably correct me on this, but you have to reach a certain order on a standard cover in order to access the variant covers, where then you can order how many variant covers you want. Like, I think that was with Legacy, you had to exceed the standard cover order by, I think it was like 150 or something, 150% or 150 issues in order to get a lenticular variant. It's a very, very, very disgusting way of just essentially robbing people of money. Because there are still thick stacks of lenticulars. Like, at the LCS I go to, there is still lenticulars. Like, very, 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 like, thick stacks of lenticulars in the stores, and it just breaks my heart because they probably wasted so much money just to get those. It's time to stop, Marvel.